Hey everyone, I'm Chris Whiting and I've got something to say, but it might not be what you're anticipating. Tonight, we're going to take a special preview look at something new that's coming your way. It's a brand new podcast called This Is the Topic with Chris and Paul. Now, this is a new podcast. It's going to be coming out in the spring, and it features, as you might have guessed by now, me, Chris, and my good buddy Paul Avoda of the midweek update and the week review and the producer of all of the podcasts at KCTK. We're going to do a new podcast where we take a topic each week, we pull it out of a bag, and we just talk about it. So we'll see if it's good or if it totally sucks ass. But I'm excited for you to take this journey with us.
Chris and Paul present This Is the Topic. It's the adventures of two lifelong friends as they explore a new topic each episode. Join the guys for music and fun, and if you're not careful, you may learn something before it's done. I'm your announcer, Michael Foster. Now, here's Chris and Paul with This Is the Topic.
Thanks, Foster. 0. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Paul. How's it going, buddy?
Welcome to episode 0.
God, it is exciting to be here.
It's the pre-episode of This Is the Topic.
So does this count? Does 0 count or no?
Not really.
Okay.
It's like a special extra thing for listeners to say, hey, you know, I was with them till episode 0.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's a
these
collector's item. Is what
people
it is.
getting in on the ground floor.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, this is exciting.
And we thought we'd use this episode to kind of explain what the podcast is going to be about. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be about hilarity. I can tell you that.
It's a pretty high bar, Paul.
I mean, you're going to laugh so much. I guess since I do the podcast called The Week Review, and you do a podcast called I've Got Something to Say.
Correct.
We thought, why don't we do one that's good? One that makes people laugh.
We can give it a shot.
Right.
You know?
Right.
We'll see what happens.
It's a high goal, but that's his. So it's called This Is the Topic, where every episode we're going to talk about a different topic and see where it goes from there. I don't know. It just sounds like exciting. If you have an idea of a topic, I mean, you can always give us a call at 913-735-0060 or an email at kctkradio@gmail.com. And we'll do that topic.
We will. You want to explain the, I don't know if I should say gimmick, but like what prep looks like for this show or doesn't look like and how.
So I guess to take it even further back, we're two very talented, successful radio guys who never did anything with radio. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
And so we've had different radio shows together.
Correct.
But hey, this is the 90s. It's time to start doing the podcast. You know, podcast is what you do. It's not AM, FM, hey, Wolfman Jack, it's time for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, really. Venus flytrap.
Right.
Yeah, terrestrial radio, it's a thing of the past.
Right.
Yeah.
So here we are to take over that, but then we thought, what should we talk about? And, Chris, I've had several conversations with you in my lifetime.
Right.
And we've talked about various topics. So the idea is just pull a topic and begin to talk on it. Kind of an impromptu conversation.
Yeah.
That hopefully is not only interesting, but maybe inspiring.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
More lofty goals.
No, I don't think so. But
Okay.
it'd be a good time to waste 15 minutes of your life every week.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got nothing else to
Right,
do.
and we'll have fun with that. So what we're going to do is every episode, we're going to use this bag here.
It's a pretty purple bag for
And we're
those of
gonna
you at
pull
home.
a topic. Like this topic here says, let's get it together. Okay. Clubs. But we're not going to do that one right now.
Okay.
That one's for,
Ooh,
that's
but
for
it's
the
got
future.
me thinking. Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
But you have the topic here, right?
I do. I have the topic for episode 0 of This Is the Topic.
Okay.
This topic is titled Podcasts, which seems appropriate, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what we're doing. We're launching a new podcast. Oh. So this one has 3 questions for us to discuss. First, what podcast do you always start up as soon as it hits your feed?
You want me to start with the?
Please. Yeah.
Okay. I've got something to say is probably my favorite one.
You're too kind. Stop already.
But I really like the idea of podcasts that, I mean, podcasts you can be really targeted, but I really like the ones, and those, you can tell the way that I produce them, the ones that seem like real live radio. Mm-hmm. Stuff that you wish you could hear on the radio, but now radio is all computerized and you have to be so exact in your talk and everything. More of a live feel, even though it's recorded. Yeah. So, a Comedy Bang Bang is a legendary podcast with people just trying to be funny, and it happened every week. I think it's been on for 10 years.
Wow.
So I love that type. I would say Comedy Bang Bang, and that's probably it. That's probably the best one that I like the best. But of course, the real master of it all is Phil Henry.
Yes.
Were you going to say that? Take away yours?
Yeah,
Go
that's
ahead,
fine.
Describe what Phil Henry is.
So Phil Henry, a little backstory on Phil Henry. As you were just talking about old-timey radio, what it used to be like when, you'd listen to the Morning Zoo program or whatever, and you're just waiting for your favorite song to come on, or, hey, when's the breakfast quiz going to be with Bobby Mitchell? You know, you're waiting for those things to happen. Way back in the early days of radio, the 80s, I don't know when this was, but I remember, and I don't remember who heard him first, you or I, heard this guy had a radio show.
No, it was the 90s.
Was it the 90s?
Yeah. Yeah, you're old, dude.
I am old.
Yeah.
It's all blurring together.
And it was me who heard him first.
Okay. I mean, I really thought it was me, but I'll go with that.
Okay. All right. It was you.
I don't know, but heard this guy. The first one I heard, I remember it was this guy had like a talk radio show, typical talk radio show, and he's got a guest on.
Typical like AM
talk radio, and he's talking to this woman who she is offended because a friend of hers had gotten breast cancer.
Okay.
And had a double mastectomy.
Okay.
And so she was calling her friend surfboard and pool table and things like that, and she couldn't figure out why her friend was offended. And I'm listening to this, and I'm like, I cannot believe this woman doesn't see why it's offensive. But, of course, you pull the curtain back, and what do you find, Paul?
You find that the host of the show, Phil Henry, is actually on the line being the guest as well.
He's like, I call it surfboard and everything like that.
So he does that with the phone, right?
Yes.
That was me.
Wait.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Whoa. You're going to have to unpack that for me.
Right.
Yes. So he would be the host, he would be the caller.
And then people call in like angry at the caller.
Yes.
And he would do that. And now he does a regular podcast every day where he has 5 different panel members, but they're all him. They're all different, distinct characters that react in different ways to different things. It is absolutely amazing.
It is lunacy. He has to be insane to pull this off.
Yes, but here's the other thing that it's hilarious.
Oh my
too.
God, it's so funny.
It's not like funny like, oh, that's strange. It's funny. It's funny. It's witty. It's good satirical information. It is so good.
Yeah.
And I just love Phil Henry. And I just wish, I mean, I have this podcast studio.
And then I have this thing, like, act like people calling in.
Right.
And the only reason I did this is because I love Phil Henry, and I just wish I could imitate him so much.
Wait, is that you or is that Frank from San Diego?
I gotta go.
I guess our caller hung up.
And it's amazing because on his podcast, so he has the 5 panel members that are all him, all distinct, different voices. But then they always have guests that call in, and he may have 2 or 3 guests on the line at a time. So he's bouncing back and forth between
he could be 8 people
10
at the same
guests.
time. Yeah.
Yes.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's absolutely amazing. So it's fun, to listen to those podcasts, and you can. Well, I listen to it every day, but you can also back them up and listen to you want to on your phone. And even before that, you and I loved radio.
Yeah.
There's a couple things. I guess I would start when we were really young. There was a guy on the radio here in Kansas City named Marshall Saper, and he was a psychiatrist. And you'd call in, he'd be like, "Let's just do a little role play."
Okay, sure.
Yeah, Dr. Saper?
Yes, this is Marshall Saper. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering, I don't love my wife anymore. I was wondering what I should do about it.
Do you feel like she loves you, sir?
Yes, very much.
Okay. Yep. Get out.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
So he did say get out every time.
Every time. That's what he always said.
And so we decided that we were going to call him.
Yes.
And we called him. And I forget it was like. We didn't want another friend of ours to hang out with us.
Yes. I think that was it. We had a friend, Dave, that we didn't want to hang out with anymore.
And so I think it went something like this.
Dr. Saper?
Yes.
Hey, Whitney, shut up.
Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
We don't want to hang out with this guy.
May I ask you something, caller?
Yeah.
Is Dave there with you?
Yeah, and everything.
Could you hand the phone to
Sure.
Dave?
I'm Dave.
Yeah, Dave. Hey, I think these guys don't want to hang out with you. Why don't you get out?
Okay.
I think he saw through our ruse.
Yeah, and it wasn't Dave, by the way. Anyone who listens to us, it was someone else.
I don't know. I don't know who it was. Yeah.
Let's just say it wasn't Dave.
Yeah. Well, not Dave Tice.
Right.
Yeah. I don't. I think
it wasn't anyone named Dave.
No, I don't
No.
know who it was.
No, it was no one named Dave.
Okay, but it might have been.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
Okay, I'm just saying
It wasn't.
there. It's like Schrodinger's cat.
Right.
Maybe the possibility exists both ways. It could be, couldn't be.
So then when we got older, you went to Northwest Missouri State University, home of
Go Bearcats.
the Bearcats.
Yep,
You did a little radio stuff there,
a little bit.
but we always kind of wanted to be on the radio.
So bad, so bad.
I went to Central Missouri, wanted to be on the radio. And one thing I did one time, I don't know if you remember this or not, but there was a contest where you could call in and you could substitute for Randy Miller. Randy Miller's a legendary disc jockey in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Quickest, funniest guy. Grab my corn dog. I mean, all that stuff. Right?
Yes, all
so,
of it.
So I got to substitute for him 1 hour. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. I had forgotten until you just mentioned it.
And
now.
it was just a blast.
Yeah. Oh, God.
So then we decide that we're going to go be on the radio somewhere, and we talk KOKO radio and just doing a show there.
Yep. Sunday nights, AM.
But we got fired, and you talked about this on your podcast.
I
but we got
did.
fired.
Yeah, we got fired. But we migrated from the AM to the FM, and the FM thing kind of took off until we got fired.
Right, and we got fired for inappropriateness.
Yeah.
Which you can't get fired for in podcasts, I don't think.
No. Oh, God, I hope not. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And then from there, we did some public service stuff with our lives, and we used podcast and radio to convey that message.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun. You always made it fun, because I started doing the public service stuff, and I thought, well, this is a good way to reach out to the community. But really, I just kind of wanted to be on the radio. And then you came with me.
Yes.
And that made it more fun.
And I would do a dumb thing that I would write like a little comedy bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those were hilarious.
What were they called? I don't remember what I called that segment.
I've got something to say, isn't it?
Maybe it was.
Yeah. I mean, it's legendary. And then we even ended up on, I forget the call letters, but it was all comedy radio.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. 15,
Since our friend Elliot 3.
Yes,
and
we
our
sure
friend
did.
Aaron Gnurk.
Yeah.
So,
well, and we went on KY back in the day.
That was going to be the next question.
Oh, sorry.
That was going to
Okay,
be the next
sorry.
thing I wanted you to talk about, KY. 'Cause
Yeah.
After we kind of dabbled in comedy, you got famous and you got picked up by KY.
Famous, maybe pushing a little bit.
Yeah.
But I would get to, on occasion, call in and do characters on KY. So they would, you'd hear about some idiot person. Like, there was a guy that was selling the rights to view him chop off his legs with a guillotine to make money.
Oh, my.
They couldn't get him to be interviewed, so they would call me and interview me as if I were that person.
Oh, okay,
so there
yeah.
was a lot of those where I was the fake interview
Right.
subject, but
I never heard that
pretending
one.
to be real. Yeah, that was one. And it's funny because my ex brother-in-law, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, messaged me. He's like, hey, is this you? And there was a little audio clip. He had bought a best of KYCD.
No way.
And one of the bits on there was me, them calling me, and me being
As a guillotine guy?
Not as the guillotine guy. This was a
Tofurkey.
It wasn't the Tofurkey
Okay.
either. It was like one of the worst ones I did, which I know does not really like narrow it down too much, but it was a guy, his friends set him up to be called to be in a porno. There was like Vivid Video was coming to Kansas City, and so it was the fake phone call
Hey,
to
you've
his
got
friend.
a big one. Why don't you be in this
Yeah,
video?
so I had to act like, I don't know. I mean, I am married. Well, we can put you in a mask. Well,
Oh, you were the
okay.
friend.
Yeah.
So that was even fake.
It was all fake. All fake. But it was fun, and then they all got fired. And
I like
don't
this
know.
one, though, when they called in.
Yeah, I mean, Tofurkey's stupid, and I'm going to eat turkey all the time.
Well, you were the guy who was trying to tell people not to eat turkey.
Yeah, I was telling to eat Tofurkey.
And people calling,
I hate you because you don't like turkey.
Yeah, and
they
I'm
would just...
saying stuff like, yeah, well, if we eat turkey, then the terrorists win. And some guy called up like, I'm a bull rider, and I understand animal rights. I
Yeah.
was like, have you ever let a bull ride you, sir? So stupid.
Well,
God.
and that kind of goes back to Phil Henry, because Phil Henry is fake and then tells you he's fake.
Yes.
All these other people back in the day were just completely fake, and they would never.
But yeah, they
admit
hit
it.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, and they weren't even clever enough to do it themselves. So then from there we, I guess we talked about it. KOKO. We did the podcast for like public service stuff, and then I did the week review, which is a silly thing that comes on Thursdays. Check into it.
It's fun.
And then
it's
you're
fun.
you're doing your different stories on I've got something.
Yeah, I
to
got
say.
stuff to say, so
So that's it. I mean, that's what we're doing. We talked about podcast.
Yes.
Talk about what we're doing in the future. Are we open to suggestions? I mean,
people are welcome to give them. Whether or not we're open to them remains to be seen. But they're welcome to submit suggestions.
yeah. And so we're going to do that with different topics that come up, and maybe, I also thought maybe a fun thing to do. We'll play some improv games, and maybe we could
I like
spark our
that.
creativity and make people laugh a lot.
Okay, yeah.
In these times, these troubled times. I mean, Indians are fighting with Catholic kids. I mean, we got to bring joy to the world,
Yeah. You remember playing Catholics and Indians when you were a kid? So much fun.
Yeah.
Be out in the backyard.
Yeah. And think about it, folks. You're not doing nothing. The shutdown's going on. You might as
Yeah.
well listen to our podcast.
Government's closed. You got nothing to do. Plus, you got 15, you got 20 minutes in your car. Just listen.
Just listen already and subscribe and everything else.
Yep.
Okay. So, I don't know. Do we have any ending remarks that you want to maybe wish people the best?
Chris
I don't
and
know.
Paul present
No, we don't want
This
that.
Is the
Oh.
Topic.
We don't want that
Chris
either.
and
No.
Oh, we don't want that. Oh, jeez.
You know what? But all this is
Have that
good.
removed.
This is giving people a true taste of what this podcast is going to be like.
There we go.
Yeah. No, I'm just excited for this little experiment. This is topic's going to be fun. You're not going to want to miss it. If you
you're
thought
not.
episode 0 was good, just you wait.
It only goes up from here. All right. We'll see you later. Thanks, folks.
Bye.
This is the Topic has been a KCTK production, produced by Chris Whiting and Paul Lavoda. All rights reserved. For more information and content, email us at kctkradio@gmail.com. I'm your announcer, Michael Foster.